Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about Mitch Marner and where he's going next. Where does Mitch Marner end up? Where does he land? Which team is gonna, pay the highest price for him potentially? Or, maybe does he choose a team that pays just a little bit less than the other guy, but is just a better place to live, better teammates, better coach, better situation as an organization, what have you. I wanted to look at 5 teams, the most likely 5 teams, in my opinion, that will be able to fit all those, check all those boxes, and potentially end up with Mitch Marner. It's going to be the biggest news of all the free agency that happens. He's the absolute biggest fish in the free agent market, and it's not even close, really. The next closest is what? Sam Bennett. So Mitch Marner is absolutely the big prize this free agency, so I want to get right into it. So at number 5, the 5th most likely team, I have the Anaheim Ducks. So the Anaheim Ducks, they're absolutely a team on the rise, right? They're a team with lots of young players, a lot of cap space. And they had a better season than past seasons, right? We weren't a bottom 5 team this season. They were a team that, by all accounts, kind of jumped as much as they probably should have. They weren't quite there at playoffs, but in the West they weren't actually too far off. I'd say less than 10 points separation, if I remember correctly. They just got a very good coach, Joel Quenneville. Now, you can absolutely have differing opinions on Quenneville, but I think something that is objectively true is that he's a really good coach. In terms of his ability to transform a team into a better team on ice and change how they play and instill the right systems and all that. Quenneville will absolutely help the Anaheim Ducks and in their pursuit of a playoff spot as soon as next season. So I could definitely see him fitting in there. Maybe they say goodbye to Zegras and replace his spot in the lineup with Mitch Marner, and he would be unbelievable there. But they're not the number 1 team for a couple reasons. I think that maybe if Mitch Marner is not completely sold on their outlook and their ability to, vie for a playoff spot, considering that they've been out of the playoffs for so many years now, maybe, who doesn't love warm weather, California weather? But yeah, I just say that there are probably some other teams who will probably be able to entice him just a little bit more. And the next team at number 4 in my list of most probable teams that Mitch Marner will go to, I have the Los Angeles Kings. The LA Kings, they're a team that both as the organization and its fan base are probably very disappointed right now, because this is the 4th year in a row they lose to Edmonton in the first round of the playoffs. They cannot get over the hump, and they're so frustrated that they release their GM of his duties. They hire Ken Holland there. You can have multiple thoughts of whether or not Ken Holland's the right fit there, but that's neither here nor there, because they're trying to get good right away. They're trying to become a contender right away. They're not trying to retool or really anything. I think they're just trying to get new blood in there in terms of how to run the team. They're going to give Jim Hiller another season, inspect, how he does. Ken Holland will inspect how he does, and then just make probably a coaching decision after this coming season. But yeah, they're not going to want to take any steps back, and they're going to try to. I don't know if they'll land Mitch Marner, but they're going to absolutely try and get better as soon as next season. They're going to try and upgrade their on ice product and get some more elite talent that is very hard to find. And Mitch Marner's, although he's got his problems in the postseason, he's a now 100-point player, premier playmaker, maybe the best playmaker and assist guy in the whole league. Well, at least in the regular season, right? But yeah, the LA Kings, look, they're very similar to Anaheim, except that they've been in the playoffs for many years now. So maybe they've got that leg up on Anaheim. They can assure Marner, hey, we're going to get in the playoffs. We just need you to help us continue going. And for that reason, I don't have him in the top, the Kings as the top 3, because maybe the Kings look at Marner and they're like, yeah, he doesn't produce in the playoffs, and that's exactly what we need. We need someone to produce in the playoffs. But I have heard the rumblings, I've heard the rumors. I know that the Kings will be very involved here with free agency and on the market. So if it's not Mitch Marner, they're going to be trying to land another big fish. Moving on to number 3, the top 3 most likely destinations for Mitch here. I have the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights is pretty simple. They're never not in play for premier guys, premier talent. They always want to be involved, and they're always a team that never writes themselves off. They never say, "Oh no, we couldn't do that. We're not in a position to do that." They're always like, "Okay, well, how do we do it? Let's figure it out." And in order to get Mitch Marner's huge cap hit next season under their belts, they're going to have to offload a lot. I could see Alex Pietrangelo potentially being traded. It would be an absolute shocker remove, but that's what Vegas is known for. They're shockers, and Vegas also does not accept mediocrity or losing early in the playoffs. They want to get right back in there. They want to keep going far in the playoffs and winning cups. So I could absolutely see them trying to bring in Mitch Marner on the same line as like Jack Eichel. Imagine that. And who knows, maybe they're thinking is that Jack Eichel can bring the best, a proven winner, Jack Eichel, proven Stanley Cup winner, can bring the best out of someone who isn't there yet. It would be magic to see. I would not be the happiest because, Vegas is the villains. They're the villains of the NHL. But I also don't hate Vegas. I just, I guess I'd be a little upset because they seem to always get what they want. If they want some big time player, they're going to get him. So I'd like a team that maybe has been a little less fortunate over the years to maybe land Mitch Marner. At number 2, I was really going back and forth here with the number 2 and number 1 spot, but I decided that this team is better at number 2 because there's a team that I think is a little bit more desperate. But at number 2, I have the Utah Mammoth. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense for Marner to go to Utah. He's looking for a new start, a fresh start, fresh place to just say, okay, I'm saying goodbye to the huge, publicity in Toronto and all the baggage that I've created there and left there. I'm going to, free myself of all of it, go to a place that has the least history. It's the newest addition to the league, even though they were a team before. But so yeah, I could see him just choosing that. And they've got tons of cap space, and they're in a position to want to land someone like Marner, someone who's a huge, big fish, premier elite talent like Marner, because they've got the new owner who's just very thirsty for success. They're very thirsty for lots of playoff wins, and even getting the playoffs, they have to get there. If they land Marner, I don't see why they wouldn't make playoffs next season. Getting one of the best proven guys at least getting to there, right? It makes just so much sense. It's just a rising team that's got a lot of promise to it. Maybe more promise than other rebuilding teams, right? They've got still guys coming up. Tisha Ginla's coming up. There's just so much excitement around Utah right now. And it's, again, a fresh start for Marner there. So Utah Mammoth fall at number 2 for my probability list here. Before I get to the number 1 spot, I want to touch upon, as a Hawks fan, right? I want to talk about why I don't have the Hawks on this list. And a lot of people may have the Hawks as number 1 on the list. And I did for a while. And after reconsidering it for the past month or so, I don't know if he's the best fit. And it's not because Chicago doesn't want to get better. It's not because they've moved past their tanking stage. I really do think that's over. They're trying to get better now. You'd think that they go after someone big. All the rumors were that they went after Jake Gensel and offered him good money last season, but he chose a team that's the Lightning that's more ready now. So they're obviously going to go after a big fish. I think it comes down to a couple things, but the main thing is, how do you want to structure your cap balance as a team? The Hawks are one of the most, they're one of the teams that have the most cap space in the entire league, right up there with the Ducks. They've got so much space, but the thing is that all these these young guys, they're going to get contracts soon. Frank Nazar, Connor Bedard, Artem Levshinov, Sam Rinzel. Eventually, these entry level contracts are going to expire, and they're going to have to be signed. Connor Bedard may be signed very soon. He might be signed in July. We'll see what happens, but it's a possibility, and we don't know yet what Bedard's going to make. We could speculate. Maybe he's going to get 12 million, 13 million. I could see him also getting lower, maybe 10 mil, just because maybe he goes team friendly. Maybe they are able to say something in negotiations where he hasn't proven enough or something. Lots of different ways that could go, but we don't know Bedard's hit yet, and I don't know if we sign someone who's above $10 million per season until we know Bedard's number, because when you're building out a cap structure, you want your main player, your future captain or your future number one center, the best player in your team. You want them to earn the most money, because that sends the right message to everybody. It's otherwise you almost have a little bit of chaos within your own cap structure. So, with Marner making, I'd say at least 12.5 million next season. Very likely at least $1 million more. I just don't know if it makes the most sense. I know that Marner, I don't know, but I think that Marner would love to come to Chicago. I think it'd be a nice fresh place for him to kind of just start anew in a new city. It's a little less pressure than Toronto, but not that much. Chicago's a huge market. So I don't know. I could absolutely see it happening. I absolutely could. But after hearing reports of certain Chicago beat writers talking about how if they had to guess, they don't think that Kyle Davidson will pursue Marner. He will absolutely pursue other options, other elite options, even probably through trade or maybe even the offer sheet route. But I don't think Marner's going to be the guy. I really don't. But we'll see. It's the fun of the off season. It's the fun of free agency and the draft. We'll see if any big trades go down in the draft. It's all a lot of fun. But at number one, my most probable destination, I think, for Mitch Marner to land, I think is the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit. They need this. They need someone like Mitch Marner. And Steve Yzerman, needs this. He needs a win. They need to make playoffs. I made the video a little bit ago about discussing the Red Wings and where they're at right now and what they need to have happen in the next season, which is they have to make playoffs, or I think Steve Yzerman loses his job. So what better than to get the best available free agent? You have the money right now. If he can figure out how to get even more money by somehow shedding some of those defenseman contracts, that would be great. But you entice him by saying, hey, another Original Six franchise, there's tons of history here, but you can forge, a new path going forward. We're trying to go right in the playoffs, so it's not like we're going backwards in any way. We're going up, and you've got a lot of respected people there, like Patrick Kane, who I'm sure Mitch Marner modeled his game after when he was growing up. A lot of respectable people like Larkin there and Raymond. So I think if I had to make the bets right now, I'm putting money on it. I think Mitch Marner goes to Detroit, which would be an absolute game changer for them over there. Their fans, I'm sure, would be ecstatic. And when you look at the Detroit Red Wings' defensive woes and their problems with the PK, especially this year, one of the worst, if not the worst, in the league. Mitch Marner, he's a forward, but he's very responsible defensively. And he goes on the PK, and he can absolutely improve that. So I think that Detroit will, even if they don't get him, they're going to try and very, very hard to get him and throw a lot of money toward his way. But yeah, that's my my top 5 probabilities for Mitch Marner. Just to recap: 5, Anaheim Ducks; at number 4, the LA Kings; at number 3, the Vegas Golden Knights; number 2, Utah Mammoth; and number 1, Detroit Red Wings. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I would also really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to this channel. It would mean the world to me. But yeah, thank you again so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.